Okay, midweek here with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. So glad you are with us here today. Barry in Studio B. Yeah, that should be Studio B, I would say. That's probably a good
because of the name.
Yeah, I like that.
I get it.
Barry, get it. Studio B.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in, I guess network control, adjacent to network control, maybe. But nevertheless, we're here for you on a Wednesday and looking at the tally sheet, the scorecard, the bullet point notepad here. A lot to discuss today.
Yeah, plenty to discuss. We can talk a little bit more, as we did yesterday, about the NBA draft. The NFL draft, the NBA playoffs. The draft is tomorrow night. There is more and more conjecture about who will be taken first, even though the conjecture now centers on Cam Ward going to the Titans. There's also some college sports news. They have changed up the college football playoff timing, I guess, more than anything
that not
else.
And I saw that. I mean, they just kind of threw it out there and let people digest that. And most people probably didn't think about it or didn't register. But Barry, I've been led to believe and grown up my entire life, it doesn't matter what is happening. The world could be on fire, but the Rose Bowl starting at 4:00 in the afternoon on New Year's.
And one of the reasons why, two of the reasons. Number one, because of the timing of the Tournament of Roses parade, which they are not getting off of. They want people who are at the Tournament of Roses parade to still be able to comfortably make it out and tailgate. And the other one, I kid you not, is they didn't want to leave because every year they've always felt, and I never really cared, I've been to the Rose Bowl before, that about beginning of the third quarter, maybe almost into the fourth quarter, you got this sunset over the San Gabriel Mountains. And Keith Jackson would wax poetic about it. Oh, the sun is creeping low over the rose-colored mountains over this fabled facility and everything.
What did he say when he was doing Bama games from Legion Field and the sun was setting?
Yeah, everybody make sure that you leave and walk out in a zigzag fashion. Keep your heads low and do not roll down your windows no matter what.
Make sure you paid the guy where you parked in his front yard, because if you didn't, your car might not be there.
Whatever he says. Yep. Well, that has changed. We mentioned the College Football Playoff Management Committee was meeting.
Well, let me ask you that. I mean, are you surprised that the Rose Bowl agreed to do that?
Here's what, first of all, this is what it is. This is the point. The Rose Bowl has moved. Let's go ahead and flesh it out. The 2025-2026 edition of the College Football Playoff, dates, kick times, broadcast information for the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the national championship game. A New Year's Day triple header. Those are the quarterfinals.
Like last night, NBA. Ooh.
Quarterfinal triple header on ESPN. The Capital One, this is weird, and I usually could not care less. Tell me when it kicks off, and I'm fine. The Capital One, the Orange Bowl, will be at 11 a.m. Central Time on New Year's morning. John, it was always at night, right?
Yeah. When we were growing up, it was at night, and I'm trying to think of the guy that Dick Enberg. He always did the Orange Bowl.
Yep. It will now be at 11 o'clock in the morning, New Year's morning. The Rose Bowl game, officially the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential, will be at 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern. That is moved up traditionally an hour.
That's right.
And people are saying, "Wow, no third quarter sunset in Pasadena."
It'll be the fourth quarter now.
The All-State Sugar Bowl will be at 7 o'clock. All of those are an hour earlier than their traditional start times. They moved it up.
the Sugar Bowl for the longest time, not when I was a kid, but in the last 10 years, I'd say, maybe more longer, that game kicked at 7:45. Because they're thinking we'd probably like to go to 8, but let's make 7:45 because they had to work around the Rose Bowl. I do kind of like the fact that the Sugar Bowl is going to kick a little earlier. That 7:45 kick, sometimes it can drag into 8, but
so now it's 45 minutes earlier. Is this important? College football playoff executive director I'm sorry. College football playoff executive director Rich Clark, quote.
Yeah, I know, Rich.
All three bowls shifting their start times allows us, the college football playoff, to place each game in an ideal window on New Year's Day and provide the optimal viewing experience.
I did see
the whole
that.
thing. Is that what it's all about?
And
is that what the whole thing is?
You know, I've been very good about reading between the lines. You don't have to read between the lines a lot on that. And I think you're going to see that a lot in other non-New Year's Day games because the money that these networks are paying, what's that line again? Optimum viewing opportunities.
Optimal viewing experience.
I like that's a good
the OVE
glossy marketing firm term. Basically, in our language, they just want to get the most eyeballs in front of the TV set and make it as convenient as possible for the viewers. Not late at night, not early in the morning. 11 o'clock Orange Bowl is a little early for me, but nonetheless, that's what they're looking for. Want to maximize their profit. And I think you're going to see it in regular season games, some of these first round games, matchups. That's what they want.
What it all boils down to, I don't know if you'll agree or not, but it seems logical to me. I'm not nearly as good at reading between the lines as John Longshore is. Tournament of Roses CEO David Eads tells Chris Vanini in an article Vanini wrote for The Athletic at theathletic.com. Tournament of Roses CEO, quote, "We've known over the past 4 or 5 years our game has run late. We've had overtimes, which has thrown off the Sugar Bowl and their timing. It's the right role for us to play to move up the start time from 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock local time." When in the world has the Rose Bowl
local time? That'll be from 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
That's correct. The Rose Bowl game will be 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central.
Yeah.
Since when has the Rose Bowl given two toots about running into the Sugar Bowl? Since when has the Rose Bowl said, quote, "It's the right role for us to play"? The right role for them to play is what they want to do, right?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised.
So read between the lines on that one, John. That is the College Football Playoff Committee telling the Rose Bowl, look, if you're going to play
work with us,
if you're going to be and host in our event, this is what you're going to have to do. And the Rose Bowl says, but we're the grand. Shut up. This is what you're going to have to do. But we've been playing since 1900. Shut up.
Hey, I like
this
that
is what you're going to do.
Voice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it feels. I mean, that's right, though. The Rose Bowl, suddenly reality splashes him in the face, and they say, the old way is over. We cannot dictate anymore. We've got to do what the television networks tell us to do.
You know, I've wondered about that for years. Why do they let the Rose Bowl dictate how everything else is going to play out? Okay, I get it. They play in the afternoon on New Year's, but you got to work with these other games and these networks to make it the best product that it can be. Hopefully this will help. That gives them a 4-hour window between the start of the Rose Bowl and the start of the Sugar Bowl. So they ought to be able to get it in 4 hours, maybe limit some of that pregame stuff that we've already heard 1,000 times before. I'm all for it. I think it's good. I like that. Hopefully this is the start of some other news, Barry, about, expanding the playoff to 16 teams. I don't know what's taking them so long. I mean, if I was running this show, this would have already been done. There's some people out here that like to trim the fat. secure the borders, get stuff done within a 100-day period.
Yeah.
That'd be me if I was running college football. What are we dilly-dallying around for? Let's go.
Is that guy you're talking about? Is that administration you're talking about? They're going to deliver the commencement speech at the University of Alabama's Tuscaloosa campus. And that's a ticketed event?
Let me ask you this, Barry. I
You
thought
have to
about
buy
this
a ticket
yesterday.
to go. Yeah.
Well, I mean, who can go besides graduates and their parents? I guess
Uncles
I
and
don't know.
aunties and
I guess.
grandparents. I don't
I
know.
wondered about this yesterday when we brought it up.
Yeah.
We ran out of time. I've been to a few commencement addresses in my day. I can't say I remember them. I might have passed the kind of took a little snooze while I was there. Possibly.
He was just happy to be
One
there.
of them, I was just happy to be there.
I made it. Hey.
Is this what it looks like? Man,
Yeah.
look at this hat. Is he going to talk like?
I made the plus 1250. I paid off. Yeah.
Is it going to be a commencement address or a political address? I mean, are we going to hear about, all these things he's done in the first 100 days?
Yeah.
Which we seem to, and then, I get the political side of it, but I'm wondering is it going to be a commencement address? And I've heard a lot of people, on social media saying, is this going to be a commencement address? Or is he going to get up there and start, grandstanding about everything that he's done since he's been in office? I think he's going to mix some of that in.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if he's ever spoken when he doesn't. And it is interesting, Barry, looking at some of the comments. I saw some of the news outlets that were showing this or writing about Trump being at doing the commencement address at Alabama. And some of the comments, ouch. Some of them were positive.
Yeah.
But there were a lot that weren't.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to be the way it is the whole time.
Yeah.
I've heard I remember commencement addresses. I remember all of that stuff. There have been some great ones. If you haven't looked on YouTube, Roger Federer's commencement address, the tennis star, Roger Federer's commencement address at Dartmouth was really good. Thornton Mellon.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thornton Mellon. My advice to you, Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School, don't go. Stay here.
Without mentioning any names, but I think he once owned the Atlanta Braves in a cable news channel.
Yeah.
He spoke. He was the commencement address speaker when my wife graduated at Georgia. She thinks he might have been liquored up. He could have been drunk while he gave the commencement address.
Oh.
That was her remembrance of it.
Bill from Baltimore, he says Bo Jackson did mine from Auburn. He was great, basically talking about conquering his fears about public speaking and stuttering. That is good. That is good. Yeah.
Who gave the year Twilita Ramsey graduated? Who was the speaker that year at Auburn?
Oh, I don't know. Matt Dillon? No, that was a different double six guns. That's a good question. A good trivia question out there.
Yeah.
So,
but
the College Football Playoff Committee, again, they're meeting. It's somewhere in Texas, I believe.
Today. I think it's today.
Yeah. They've already gotten underway with moving the New Year's Day quarterfinal games. Bill from Baltimore also says they should be done by New Year's Day, not just in the quarterfinals. He says, I lose interest in college football past New Year's Day anyway. NFL is king and takes more eyeballs in January. There will be other things coming out. I don't know that all of the things that John wants to happen in the college football playoff will all happen this week, or if they'll ever happen. But there will be more announcements, possibly.
I hope
if not a change in policy, at least a statement on where they stand on certain policies, like seeding, like
that's got to change,
like size of the college football playoff.
The seeding, I think, was a big problem, and I think they know that, and I think they've pretty much admitted it, kind of addressed it with what happened with Boise and Arizona State. See, I almost forgot who they were. So I think that's going to be corrected. Hope so. Expansion, that's not going to happen until at least 26, I believe it is when that could possibly happen. Who knows? Might be in 30 when this TV deal is going to get reworked. Yes, Thornton Mellon was famous for the triple Lindy. You're right about that.
Yep.
Sam Kinison did have a great performance in that movie back.
I like Sally Kellerman in that one.
Yeah,
too.
she was good.
I like.
She was good. I don't know who the kid was that played Dangerfield's son in the movie. He's kind of a dork. I didn't think he was cast very well.
Yeah,
I didn't like him. Can't think of his name, but
there
Ted Turner I think was a little tipsy when he gave my wife's commencement address at Georgia. So I'm told.
Quick for all of you cinemaphiles out there, wasn't the kid who, by the way, the kid's girlfriend, beautiful. The kid who played Thornton Mellon's son in Back to School, wasn't he the same kid that kept getting chased around by the car in that movie Christine from Stephen King? He was the Christine kid, right? That got, I don't know, his car or something like that. Anyway.
I don't think I've ever seen Christine. There was actually a movie many, many years ago called The Car. James Brolin was in it from Marcus Welby, MD. He was the lead in that movie called The Car. It was about a big black car that would chase you around. It was kind of one of those B movies they played on HBO late at night.
That was kind of like Christine, of course. I'm not a big fan of scary movies anyway. James Brolin's son, Josh, played in No Country for Old Men. Couldn't handle that movie now. Oh, my gosh. Anyway,
what a great movie. Yeah, we do digress. We got a lot going on today. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, will join us at the top of the next hour. As we mentioned, we got a lot of content today to talk about. The Phantom's Daily Dog. I'll just say this, Barry. I'll give you this little hint before we break that down later. It was not a good night for any dog, if that is any consolation. Right. It was not a dog night last night. Gurn Jr.
It was a three dog. It was not even a 3-dog night.
No, it was not. But I did watch pieces of all those games. I'm telling you, folks, you got to take a look. Oklahoma City looks really good. Their uniforms are hideous. They got to get better uniforms. I will say that. And they covered a big spread last night. But more on that later. Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel later today as well. Mentioned CJ Duncan. And when we get back, something that I thought was interesting in the financial world that I wanted to touch on today.
A lot going on. Lots to touch upon here. We're underway on the Wednesday show in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 20.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 20 minutes past the hour here on a Wednesday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light in association with Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out each and every day live at yellowhammernews.com, also on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Instagram, X, Spotify as well. So many people let us know how much they appreciate all the platforms we're on so they can listen or view at their convenience. Really appreciate that. You can also check out a daily wrap-up of the program at yellowhammernews.com each and every day. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate that.
The
Barry
NFL draft
starts.
Yeah, NFL draft starts tomorrow. We'll catch you up on the Braves, the NBA ratings in 8 playoff games opening weekend. Highest NBA ratings in 25 years. ESPN, this is what a business thing leading into John's business commentary. ESPN said this past weekend was the most watched NBA opening weekend ever on its platforms. Why? Why the NBA this year? The Thunder,
folks. And there are some small market teams. Yeah, Memphis, OKC, and I got to tell you, Oklahoma City's kind of. I know they were good a couple of years ago. Didn't Durant play for them for a couple of years?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Russell Westbrook played there. Golly, they had some players.
Maybe this is one of the reasons. Just spitballing here, but you got OKC, you got Memphis, you got Indianapolis, but you got the Lakers, and you got the Knicks, and you got Golden State with Steph. You got the 4th largest city in America, Houston.
Houston's in, yep.
You got Detroit. So you got Denver, who won it a couple of years. You got 2 LA teams. You got Denver, who won it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You got Boston. You got the Celtics.
Maybe the 2 best teams in the NBA this year. Cleveland, Oklahoma City, Minnesota.
I would say the majority of sports fans, general sports fans, could not tell you that Cleveland and OKC have the best records.
I mean, I can name maybe 2 players, maybe 3 on both teams.
Colin Sexton still play for Cleveland?
Who?
Did Colin Sexton play for Alabama?
Yeah, he's been hurt. The back in the day, not when I was a kid, but when I was younger, those Bird and Magic years.
Oh,
I can tell you everybody on the Celtics. I can tell you everybody on the Lakers back in those days, even Kurt Rambis and Michael Cooper and Jerry Sichting and Danny Ainge and those guys. Now you got these teams, and these are really good teams. I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Thunder and, some of the stars and all that. But I'm thinking, how are they so good?
Yeah.
They don't have Steph. They don't have LeBron. They don't have Luka. They don't have
all the new
Joe Kitchen, any of those guys.
All the new young gun players
but they love anyway.
Playing for the. Here's one. This kind of goes into what Theotis has to say. Theotis asks, has anybody heard the Birmingham Stallions might be moving? No, I have not heard that. Barry, you might have heard it. I have not.
I have not either.
Saying that, what city is bigger, Birmingham or Oklahoma City? As I'm watching that game last night, I'm thinking, why does Oklahoma City have an NBA team?
And they moved it from Seattle. Remember, they're the old Supersonics.
And the Grizzlies came from Vancouver.
Has any of you ever been to Oklahoma City?
I have not.
I've been through it. Troy played in Stillwater in football. I've never done a game from the University of Oklahoma, which is right there.
I see you're typing up is it the population or the square mileage of those 2 cities?
Oklahoma City's population, 702,760. So let's say 700,000. Oklahoma City.
Now, I don't want to get into
which
details
is larger
here.
than I thought.
I know the details, but is that within the city limits or the metro? Because, Birmingham uses a big metro area.
Yeah.
I believe the city of Birmingham is about 200,000.
At the city of Birmingham, 196,644. Huntsville, 225,564. So Birmingham's not even the biggest city in the state of Alabama. By the way, according to this marker from the United States Census, Birmingham 196,000, Montgomery 195,000.
Hey, how about that, Theotis?
Does any of that seem right?
Well, here's the deal.
Okay, yeah.
Birmingham, in their TV broadcast area, so to speak, we'll use that as an example.
Yeah.
They say that area is over 1 million people because it's from Tuscaloosa to Gadsden to Coleman to Clanton.
Yeah.
So you think about all the people that are in that area. And then, of course, in Birmingham, you got all of those other Vestavia, Hoover, Mountain Brook, Trustful. I mean, they're all over there. They all touch the Birmingham city limits. You could go from Mountain Brook to Birmingham and never know it if you didn't look, if you weren't paying attention to the signs. So,
or the surroundings.
I think, that's a good point. I think when you leave Birmingham and you enter Mountain Brook, well, this
is when John turns to his wife and says, "Honey, I don't think we're in Mountain Brook anymore."
But so you incorporate all those areas and you're getting over 1 million from what I'm told. Their TV demographic, if you will, or TV footprint. I don't believe Huntsville or Birmingham, or Montgomery is that big. Montgomery, do they incorporate Wetumpka and Prattville as part of their metro? I'm sure when they're selling industry and anything else, they are.
Yeah. So there is that. But yeah,
I've not heard the Stallions removing that. That's the second time you've brought that up, Theotis. What's up?
Yeah, I don't know. Going to Huntsville, maybe? Is that what you're? I have not heard. I can I guess Google it. John was going to bring up a financial point.
Yeah.
about the world today.
The world today. I saw this, Barry, and I'll start it this way. Is Nick Saban about to become a billionaire?
Saw that.
In an article in Forbes magazine, he says it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. And what he's talking about is a partnership that started many years ago with a man named Joe Agresti from Baton Rouge. He's not from there, but that's where they met. And Saban is part of a 9 automobile dealership company over 5 states that brought in over $2 billion in revenue last year. It's called the Dream Motor Company. And they seem to be doing very well with several lines of car. Mercedes, Ferrari, and Infiniti seem to be the 3 that they go with. Big Mercedes dealerships throughout 6-state area, 5-state, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Texas, Florida. They just bought 2 dealerships down in Miami. It also goes on to say, Barry, that Nick Saban is on the verge of being the owner or part owner of several professional franchises in the state of Tennessee. This in Forbes magazine. You can go to Forbes.com.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other sports personalities that are billionaires. I understand Michael Jordan is a billionaire.
Maybe Magic.
Maybe Magic, maybe Shaq. But what do you think about a former college football coach becoming a billionaire?
Billionaire with a B. I know Bill Battle was really wealthy after a little while. That kind of stuff. Hey, I know guys. I don't know about billionaire. I don't know a single billionaire. I don't think. I know guys who worked every day of their life 9 to 5, saved their money, invested well, and all that. It's an interesting who are millionaires. The guy Joe Agresti, he runs the Mercedes-Benz in Baton Rouge. He was on a conference call, and they say it's one of the best run Mercedes-Benz dealerships in the country. He was on a conference call somewhere, and he got an unknown number left a message. It was Nick Saban who was calling, just kind of cold calling, and said, "Hey, I want to open a car dealership." Saban's, when he was a kid, his dad, Big Nick, you guys know this story,
Oh, yeah.
Ran a gas station or something, and Nick used to wash cars and, fill up tires with air and all that stuff. So he's always been interested. And Saban thought he'd call the guy. They were supposed to meet for a half hour. They met for 4 hours and ended up going into business together. Dream Motor Group sells 20,000 Mercedes-Benzes a year, plus a couple hundred Infinitis and Ferraris and stuff. I don't know what the deal is about Saban wanting to own professional sports franchises in Tennessee. You got the Grizzlies, you got the Titans, you got minor league teams.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is it minor league professional sports? Because you got the Predators and the Titans and the Grizzlies and the big sport, really professional sports.
Yeah.
NBA, NHL, and NFL. And that doesn't come, those aren't cheap. I mean, you just don't buy a professional sports franchise. You got to be a really big dog.
But if you're going to buy a professional sports franchise, why in Tennessee? Why there? Is that where the opportunities are? I don't know. That is interesting.
If it is, for instance, if it's one of the two teams in Nashville, Nashville is a buzzing city. It is growing. It is hopping. There's a lot going on, a lot of construction, a lot of major companies are in Nashville. To me, Nashville is Atlanta 40 years ago. I hope it doesn't turn into what Atlanta's turned into now. People have said that about a lot of cities across the country, particularly in the South. Anyway, the Grizzlies,
I don't know that that's like a hot commodity. Oh, I got to get in on the Grizzlies or something.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
I don't know if and there again, is it full ownership? Is it part ownership?
Yeah.
I know someone whose father is a part owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know how many other part owners there are, but his father's one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're looking at, but I think that'll be interesting to see in the future. But 9 dealerships across 5 states, $2 billion in revenue. His partner is already a billionaire. Forbes mentioned that he's $1.1 billion.
Again, the guy's name is Joe Agresti. He's 52. That's Saban's partner, John alluded to. And he's a hard charger. The guy who wrote the story in Forbes at Forbes.com is pretty well written. He says this about Joe Agresti, quote, over the course of our 3-hour call, Agresti mentioned 14 buddies, a half dozen friends, 3 good dudes, 1 excellent dudes, and names 4 people his best friend, end quote. Who does that remind you of? 14 buddies? I've heard that before with John just walking through the hall. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, buddy, absolutely. And John, who's that guy? Yeah, do you know a lot of personalities like that, guys who are just absolute live for the deal and just total energy 24/7? I love those guys. I'm not that forceful of a personality. I'm not, high voltage or anything. But I like hanging out with guys like that once in a while,
When I read that portion of the article, I kind of just smiled a little bit, nodded my head, and said, "Yeah, I can relate to this guy."
Yeah. Geddy Lee said, "Did he have any? Hey, big man." Maybe so, maybe not.
He might have. He could have. But Nick Saban as a billionaire, his partner's already there. I would imagine Nick's not far off. And it seems, Barry, that they're, very aggressive in wanting to acquire more dealerships around the country. The 2, they just bought 2 in Miami. And I got to think that's a hot area for Mercedes. And the way they run these dealerships, they talk a lot about that as well. But interesting article about the former Alabama coach and what he's doing these days. And to think people thought, Barry, he was just going to sit there in his office at Bryant Denny and still control the program. And go to practice all the time and, go finagle and move chess pieces around like he wanted in college football and with Alabama football. I mean, certainly doesn't seem like that's going on. Not that it ever happened anywhere else in this state.
Yeah. But Saban, as a billionaire, running dealerships or, overseeing dealerships all over the South,
I don't know if
is he going to stay in Tuscaloosa? I mean, is he?
Well,
I know there's a dealership right outside. I mean, a plant right outside Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and one of their more unique dealerships is right there off 285. No, 459. I'm thinking Atlanta. 459. If you get on 459 off 65, and then you cross. Right. You go under 280 and keep going. It's up there on the hill on the left. It's real cool. It's unique.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me that the other day, Bear. It was a little hot, not summertime hot, but a little warm. And somebody made the comment, man, you think Saban's in Tuscaloosa or you think he's up in his lake place at Lake Burton or down in Jupiter, Florida today? And it kind of hit me. I thought, how much time does he spend in Tuscaloosa? Because if I had a place in Jupiter, Florida that was worth 14, 15 million, or up in the mountains of Lake Burton, I think I'd be there.
It'd be why I would be hanging out. No question. No doubt. All interesting stuff. You can check it out. We like to always ascribe our conversational points. Yes. Forbes.com. Joe Agresti, Nick Saban. Saban also has a partnership with Agresti in a bourbon company in Kentucky. So he's got quite the portfolio.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. His nest egg, according to the article, came from earning over $150 million as a college football coach. So there you go. Anyway, bring it up because it's a very interesting article. Forbes.com. It's 23 minutes left in our first live hour of the show. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight, two non-billionaires. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest-ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust. Okay, about 20 minutes to the top of the hour. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, will join us as he does each and every Wednesday. John Dent on our River Region Straw chat line. Yes, John, Coach Saban does have ownership in a hotel in downtown Tuscaloosa. It's called the Alamite. It's right there across from the restaurant known as Five in downtown Tuscaloosa. Stayed there in February. It's a nice spot. You ought to check it out. Hey, Barry, tomorrow we will be at the Montgomery Regional Airport for many reasons to tell you about all the convenience of what the Montgomery Regional Airport offers. with flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, DFW, and Washington's Reagan National Airport. But also, we're going to be letting people know, if you hadn't already done it, you better hurry up, because if you want to fly, you've got to have a real ID.
Yep.
That starts May the 7th. If you don't
2
have
weeks.
that gold star in the top left corner of your driver's license, they're not letting you on an airplane.
Yep. My wife and I, of course, my mom lives down the street from us here. We all got to plan to get to go together all at once. You have to go to the courthouse and all that and bring your documentation and all that.
I do understand if you have a passport, you can use a passport to go through TSA. But if you don't have a passport, you got to have the real ID label on your driver's license. Yeah, we'll tell you about that tomorrow. But I was thinking about that. You see a lot of stuff about it. Yep. Just our public service here, Barry. We're doing a public service for our viewers and listeners today.
Well, we mentioned, NBA playoffs. The college football playoff has tweaked their quarterfinals. The Rose Bowl is moving up the NFL draft and the transfer portal, which closes up for football. This particular window for the transfer portal closes up on Friday. So a lot of people are hustling. And the basketball portal, the basketball transfer portal, which opened up a month ago tomorrow, it closed yesterday. Yesterday was the final day of the men's basketball D1 portal. 2,499 Division I men's basketball players entered the portal. Just in case you're wondering, that's 45% of the total players who were on rosters last year. 45% of the players on last year's teams wanted to transfer. 20% more than last year's portal entry. 161% increase over the portal entries in 2019, which was the first year of the basketball portal. Had 957 entries in 2019. And I remember because John and Mike were like, oh my gosh, almost 1,000 people. Well, yeah, now it's almost exactly 2,500 people. You want to know the reasons why? We all know the reasons why. What's the reasons behind anything? Well, the prices for their services keep going up. 3 years ago, 3 years, not long. 3 years ago, a $400,000 NIL deal, you give somebody a deal for $400,000, that's the number one transfer in the nation. You can get anybody 3 years ago for $400,000. Now, according to CBS Sports' Matt Norlander, $400,000, this is basketball, $400,000 NIL deal will get you a mid-major guy who averaged fewer than 10 points on a non-NCAA tournament team. If you're averaging 9.7 points per game for Stephen F. Austin, $400,000 is your going rate to transfer.
So, Barry, we've heard
that's a lot of money.
We've heard people say, how can they sustain this? Or how can, you just can't do it year after year after year. The prices are going up. How can you keep doing that? I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can go back to your donors, whether you're a big dog or you're spending $18 a month or whatever the number is that they want you to donate every year just to get your foot in the door. I don't know how they can do it. And they, this House versus the NCAA business and, trying to put some guardrails up. But there again, we talked about it earlier in the week. What's to stop some big dog under the table paying the guy they really, really want? We're going to go back to that. It's a mess. I think it's a bigger mess than I ever thought it was going to be. And I think the powers that be in college athletics have certainly figured out or realized
and keep doing it.
This ain't what we wanted.
Well,
this is not what we were expecting.
Here's also what it is, particularly to this time financially.
Mm-hmm.
In the football portal, some of the guys the big guys who are spending, the big schools who are spending the money in the NFL, in the NIL era right now, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Miami, and Texas Tech. If you hadn't been looking, Texas Tech is spending a load of money because of all their oil money. Here's what somebody had to say. They had it may be the Indiana head coach, Kirk Cignetti, who used to be an assistant at Alabama. No. I'm sorry. This is an NIL agent who are unlicensed. It could be anybody. One NIL agent tells CBS's John Talty, who's been a guest, one NIL agent says of Texas Tech, he says, quote, "They're insane. They're crazy and do not care. I think they are like, we have one shot before this gets figured out to build a team, and we'll just overpay people." You know, that's a thing. That's my point. Now in the market, you got places like Texas Tech who's got some money to spend, and they're thinking, this whole thing's about to end. They're about to get this house settlement. They're about to put some rules down. But while there ain't no rules, we're going to throw as much money as we can. We're going to buy us one team.
Yep, sure.
And go try to win a championship.
And there,
right?
Texas Tech is not a team that year in and year out is a player. They have their moments. I think they had a moment against Auburn. But was that the double dribble game?
No, that was Virginia.
Yeah. But Texas
Tech played. Yeah. They played for the national championship.
Okay, that's what I thought. See, hey, I remembered. Hey, ding, ding. Chalk one up for me, remembering who was in the Final Four that
year. When you say "didn't they," that doesn't mean you remember. That means I think I knew, but I may be wrong.
That's half credit, which I was good at.
Half credit.
Woo.
Yes.
Hey, ma'am, can I get half credit for that? But yeah, and why not? I mean, there's no rules. Nobody's enforcing anything. Maybe.
And you see the end is near. So
yeah.
Hey, give me some more of this. Sure. Here coming down the street.
I know there's a renegade effect out there, but yeah, a ton of money. I've wondered about that as well. Where there's a ton of money. How can Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, whatever? How can they compete? I think that's what Saban was talking about at the club years ago when Jimbo Fisher got bent out of shape, when he said something about they bought every lineman on the team, which, hey, it could have happened.
Nice work if you can get it, and nothing wrong with it.
How can you compete with that? As Ty says, after watching the series Landman, they got the money to spend. That's a great series too. I enjoyed that. I'm watching Mobland now on Paramount Plus with Pierce Brosnan. Woo, that's a good one too. Yeah,
better than GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan.
Well, totally different. This is more mob related. It's British mob, which is really cool.
Because GoldenEye was not good. I
thought it was pretty good. It was a lot better than his last Bond entry.
That's what I'm thinking of, with the guy with the diamonds in his face.
Yeah, that was horrible.
In the Ice Hotel.
That was horrible.
Now the British mob, they ain't no joke. I'd love to see that on Paramount Plus. Is that what
Paramount Plus is now? Barry, it's a little. It can be a little gory. I mean, when you think of the mob, they just don't put something in your drink and let you die peacefully.
No. There's an ice pick involved.
Yeah, it's kind of gory. The little lady went, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to watch this." I went, "Well, go in the bedroom and watch Hallmark movies, whatever." Yeah, you probably don't want to. But Mobland's pretty good.
Those can be a little nauseating too, by the way.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. Also, The Agency is good as well. It's also on Paramount Plus. It started a while back, several months ago, but it's good too. Check those two are good. When I recommend The Agency and Mobland, they're good.
Okay,
but anyway, we were talking about Landman. You're right, Ty, and with Texas Tech and Barry, hadn't we been hearing about that all this oil money out in Texas? These guys are just gonna, no holds barred,
and the holes are going to start being barred, or at least limited, in a little while. And that reminds me of what was the movie where the kids are in there in the kitchen, they're by themselves eating breakfast, all of a sudden, you could hear the mom and dad upstairs. They're screaming and yelling at each other, and they're coming downstairs and still screaming and yelling. The two brothers look at each other, and they grab all the bacon and start shoving it in their mouths before mom and dad come downstairs and lay the law down, So that's Texas Tech. They're looking and saying, oh, hang on, house settlement coming up? When? Until then, we're good, right? Let's go ahead and start throwing it in. Yeah.
Didn't that also happen in Danny Noonan when he was shoveling those Cheerios in his mouth and his dad looked at some kid and go, do I know you?
With 19 kids in their house at breakfast. Danny saw me naked. Let's take a break. When we come.
I forgot about that line. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep it here for a couple of more minutes. Got CJ Duncan coming up at the top of the hour. Real quick here, probably going to be on the topic wheel because Gurn gets some good stuff that we're likely to miss. If it's an obvious thing, I feel confident to go ahead and bring it out because Gurn brings up the good stuff that we might have missed. NFL mock draft. NFL, the final mock drafts are coming out. The draft itself tomorrow night. According to Yahoo Sports, Nate Tice and Charles McDonald are already in Green Bay on the ground. Number 1 pick, Cam Ward, will go to the Titans. Number 2 pick, they've got Travis Hunter going to the Browns. The first in-state person to be picked will be Jahad Campbell from Alabama, the linebacker, number 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And
all right, so let me ask you this. All right, so he goes 19. That's 12
19.
more. That's 12 more picks for the first round. Does Jalen Milroe go in one of those 12 picks?
They have Jahad Campbell, number 19 from Alabama to the Buccaneers. Number 21 pick to the Steelers, quarterback Jalen Milroe.
I wonder what Robbie from Greenville thinks about that. He's a big Steelers fan. Now, we know Chuck Noll is not the coach anymore. Back when Terry Bradshaw was running the show, Franco Harris, John Stallworth, Lynn Swan.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Otis Sistrunk.
Yeah. The immaculate catch against the Raiders. I don't get it. And Friday morning when we're on the air out at Stivers and Prattville, and we're going, I don't get it, Barry. I don't know what the Steelers are thinking about. But I'm no NFL GM. I don't know. We'll
21.
See. What about Tyler Booker?
Booker is not in the first round projection here.
Oh, wow.
As a matter of fact, the only 2 from Alabama are Campbell and Milroe. There are 3 from Georgia that are in this mock draft.
Inquiring minds want to know, Barry, who will be the first Auburn player? Will it be Jarquez Hunter? And if so, where will he go?
It'll be Jarquez, and it'll be maybe late 3rd round.
Wouldn't it benefit Jarquez if, say, he was drafted by, the Chargers or the Rams? Close to Hollywood?
Because of motion pictures. Boy, this is going to be a thing. John has his little index cards out. Mention this player, got to mention that. Get it, this and that. I don't know that local news stations in Naperville, Illinois, local television news stations, are going to be setting up TV cameras in Peyton Thorne's family's living room.
Ooh. Speaking of the Stallions, could he play for them?
Probably will.
Where's he from again? Naperville, Illinois?
Naperville, Illinois, which is not too far away from DeKalb, which is where northern Illinois is. Not too far from Chicago.
Okay.
It's up there in that area.
Never heard of that place.
Let's take a break. When we come back, CJ Duncan will join us as we get ready for the second hour on the show. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Here we are at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Our friend, everybody's friend, Mary Ann is with us. Mary Ann, April is a special month, even more special at Marguerite's.
Definitely. Okay, so it's the first of the month, Barry. What's that birthstone?
It's a diamond, right?
Yes. Winner. It's easy to remember because with April comes baseball season, baseball diamond. We've got Diamond
Nice.
Month here at Marguerite's, and it is a great time. We are having Diamond Month to really emphasize all the great diamonds we have in stock. We're doing crazy specials on natural as well as lab created diamonds with solitaire specials starting out at, this is crazy to believe, $500 for a lab created diamond solitaire. That's insane. Like a 1 carat inner ring. We have diamond studs, diamond tennis necklaces, tennis bracelets. Everything with our diamonds are going to be unmatched, unparalleled prices. And loose stones, again, maybe because it is baseball season and you're watching all of those games that you need to give a little extra something, or that girlfriend that you've been dating for a while needs to get an engagement ring. Well, now is definitely the time to do it because our loose diamonds are on special.
Yeah, if you are thinking about an engagement, here's a pro tip. That may be Marianne's favorite thing to do at Marguerite's, is to help the guys make sure their odds are good with a beautiful diamond for that loved one that they're going to pop the question to, right?
Most definitely. It's great to help. We love helping you. The hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. Next thing, I mean, honestly, you just say, I need to get engaged, or between the two of us or the rest of these listeners, I can tell when a guy walks through. They kind of just have that look and they're just walking slow and looking around. And I'm like, need an engagement ring? And they just shake their head. I take it from there. Just get some ideas. White gold, yellow gold, diamonds. We have them. Guys, it's not hard. Honestly, just walk through the door. We can help you.
Yeah, it's not intimidating at all. They have people who would love to help, especially in Diamond Month in April in Marguerite. Yes, Marianne, as always, it's so great to talk with you. What are the hours of operation?
Sure, we're open 7 days a week in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery. Thanks very much, Marianne. Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Back again on the
Well, I thought I'd hit
Wednesday
that.
show. Yep.
I was reading, PM. Chris the Bammer wanted to know what was going on. We'll get into that a little later, Chris, during that commercial break. I was able to sneak in a little bit there, reminiscing a little bit with PM. Dennis Mitchell's ordered some books, Barry, wrestling books. Yep.
He says, Barry, I ordered 2 wrestling books. The World According to Dutch by Dutch Mantel.
Yeah.
And Katie Bar the Door, Portland Wrestling.
Man.
Dennis also says, John and Barry, what events are coming to Garrett Coliseum? Dennis is a big city of Montgomery guy. And he's
Dennis, if they ask me what events are coming to Garrett Coliseum, my advice would be some dynamite, as in blowing the place up. And they can sell tickets and let everybody watch it. They're not asking me.
Southeastern Rodeo this weekend.
Wow, rodeo.
The Bring Your Dancing Shoes, May the 10th.
How about a tractor pull? There's got to be a tractor pull coming.
Let's see. From the Crawford Arena, the Ink Masters Tattoo Tour is coming up in July.
Nice.
Team roping later this month as well.
So Theoda says they're having an HVAC convention. Yeah,
which is a joke because there's not been air conditioning.
In the middle of August, Theotis, it's coming in the middle of August when they're having an HVAC convention. Okay, our man CJ Duncan, who of course grew up here in Montgomery, he probably knows a little bit about Garrett Coliseum as well, but we're not here to talk to him about that. He joins us each and every day from Yellowhammer News. Hey, CJ, good morning. How you doing today?
Good morning, guys. Good to see y'all.
It's good to see you as well. Here we are in late April. NFL draft is coming up. Put on your NFL experience, your NFL draft expert for each one of those teams. if you have, say, the top pick, why in the world would you ever trade it? I mean, they're not doing it this year. At least they say they're not this year. But if the Titans are holding pretty firm to that, I never could understand why somebody would want to trade a chance to pick up the best college player in the country. Do you have any rationalizations for that?
You know, it kind of depends on what they've done the year before as well. You know, if you're trying to pick up more picks, you assume that you would get a lot for that number one pick, and especially if whoever is considered, you know, the top guy coming out doesn't necessarily fit what you currently need, right? And so, for instance, if you have a quarterback, but the number one guy in this draft, the best overall player is a quarterback, but you really don't want to spend that much money on a defensive end or whatever it may be. You know, it may be best for you to trade back and get several picks from this year and next year, just to kind of build your roster. I
You know,
think I think trading back is all about building your roster, and then sometimes, you know. I think one thing that's lurking out there right now is the Brock Purdy deal with the San Francisco 49ers. You know, I think, you know, if they don't get a deal done, you know, I mean, he probably won't be traded. He probably won't. But it's something to think about. You know, if he still requires 50 something $1 million, and the San Francisco 49ers don't want to pay that, that being per year, I mean, what if one of those top teams in the top two or three picks decide they want to trade for Brock Purdy and the 49ers have a top three pick?
when I think about what Barry laid out there, CJ, I think of Bryce Young at Carolina. He has no help. The guy's running for his life. They picked this guy in the first round, but they need more than just Bryce Young. Is that the case for the Titans? I mean, if they get Cam Ward, does he have anybody to block for him? Does he have anybody to throw the football to? That's what I look at. And I think a lot of these quarterbacks that come into the NFL and they're drafted by a crummy team, I guess they know going in, but I'm going to get beat up and I'm running for my life for about the first 3 years till I can get some help.
You know, if I was Shador Sanders' agent, that would be my argument. I'm kind of used to it, right? I'm
Yeah.
used to a bad offensive line and a bad team and kind of turn them around and getting them into a winning culture. But yes, I mean, you kind of have to understand especially as a quarterback, that you're going into a bad situation. There's a reason why they're a top, you know, 4 or 5 team in the draft. You know, they had a very bad season, and you know, sometimes due to trades, you'll get a decent team up there, a playoff team, but more than likely that's a bad team, and you know, that's just a part of it. You would like to see them have more draft picks. You know, even if they have a second round pick, if they can trade back into the first and get a special guy there at the end that may have slid, I think that also helps your quarterback out as well.
See, you bring that up, and I never thought of it that way. That's a great answer to my question. But I would think a lot of people who are watching the draft with their favorite team, I may be on the show tomorrow wearing my Jacksonville Jaguars jersey and my Jacksonville Jaguars hat and everything. And that's the way a lot of people watch it. But yeah, you're talking about, you know, you got to watch out what the money's going to be for Purdy and what that does for the quarterback market down the stretch and everything. When you watch the draft, are you thinking about, boy, I'd like to see this guy go to my team, or I'd like, you know, this guy from my college team to go here, or are you looking at, man, that's gonna change the market for running backs, or you know, they really don't need to spend their money on that. So much of it is financial, in other words. CJ.
Yes, I think it is, and I think I look at the draft as fit, right? You know, based on the current team assembled or the current team that they have on the roster, how does this guy fit into that system? And is it going to be a good mesh? Because sometimes you get drafted just because you're the best guy available, you're the top guy on everybody's board, but you don't really fit what that coach is trying to do, right? And that can kind of stunt your growth as a professional. I think the NFL overall is really about timing and opportunity, and being in the right fit. And if you don't have those kind of three things, then it is very hard to be successful. And then you start to hear the boos and you hear the critics saying, you know, you may be a bust or this, that, and the other. And then it really becomes a mental thing. So I look at fit, and I I know guys want to make their money, and the money changes at the higher you get in the first round. But to be honest with you, I'd rather get drafted later if that means I was with the right team, right offensive coordinator, in the right culture, right city to be in.
As you can imagine, CJ, Jalen Milroe has been a topic of conversation a lot on this program over the last year or so. And now with the draft coming up, we've talked a lot about him this week. Seems to be the Pittsburgh Steelers are showing interest in Milroe. There again, never been through a draft, never played college football, but I've watched a lot of it. And there's things as a consumer of college football that I thought, I'm just not sure he's the total package when it comes to a quarterback. He's a great athlete, but I see some areas that he really needs to work on. In saying all that, CJ, do you think he's a first-round draft pick? Is he a project that they're hoping to work into a quarterback in maybe year 3 or 4? Or do you think he could step in and play sooner rather than later?
I think with Jalen Milroe, in my opinion, is probably closer to Anthony Richardson than he is a Lamar Jackson right now at this point in his career. But I think what teams like about him is, one, his attitude, his work ethic, his willingness to get better, and just his physical tools. There's a lot of things that you can't coach that he already has, right? And every coach has an ego. They think they can fix you. And so I think that's what's going on with Jalen. He would not be a first round pick in my book right this second. But I think that Alabama stamp goes a long way. I think you get the benefit of the doubt if you play for the Crimson Tide. And I think a lot of guys have benefited from that.
CJ Duncan is with us. I want to switch gears just a little bit. This is not the most topical thing right now, I suppose, but you've done podcasts and done them very well. I guess it was last fall you had Dansby Swanson on your podcast. He made a terrific play the other night. The Cubs are doing really well offensively. They had a come from behind win, a walk-off against the Dodgers last night. Are you a big baseball guy, CJ?
Yeah. Grew up a really big baseball guy,
Yeah.
and honestly, that's how I got to know Dansby. But when I was younger, football and baseball were kind of our top sports. We played basketball as well, but baseball was really big in our family. Spent all summers doing it. One with my buddies, and my dad coached one of the years, but we won back-to-back World Series championships. When I was younger.
I did not know.
The team out of AUM. So baseball's been in our blood for a long time. And once I got to Vanderbilt, I was just comfortable being around baseball players all the time. So there was my freshman summer, the baseball players were hanging out at the dorm. I was like, all right, I'm going to go hang out with them, see what they're up to. And little did I know, I was walking into Dansby Swanson's dorm with some freshman baseball players. And, we've been best friends ever since. So
that's awesome.
What position did you play growing up?
So one of my best friends growing up was William Olsey, and so when William was not on my team, I was a shortstop, and when he was on the team, he would play shortstop and I played center field. So I would go back and forth between those two positions, regardless of age. But that's kind of it was really dependent on if William was on my team or not.
So Dansby. He played for a national championship team at Vanderbilt, number 1 overall pick, went to the Diamondbacks, quickly traded to the Braves. For those people who discount Vanderbilt's ability to play for a national championship, how did the baseball team get it done?
You know what? They great leadership. Coach Tim Corbin is an excellent coach, excellent man. He has created a standard there, and there's an expectation that has developed over the years. And I think once you get a couple MLB guys to come through there and kind of set the tone, and it helps recruiting quite a bit. And now we've run into the trouble where there are so many top players that want to come to Vanderbilt that we kind of put all our eggs in their basket, but then they end up getting drafted, so they never come to Vanderbilt, right? And so he's just done an excellent job with that. And I mean, we really do have really talented guys, but I think it comes down to the culture with Coach Tim Corbin. He's the common denominator, regardless of who's on the team.
CJ, the spring transfer portal has got about 2 days left in it. Are you surprised that a lot of big dogs haven't gotten into the portal? I mean, I was expecting to see some movements out of some players that are kind of household names, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
You know what? I don't know what to expect these days. Honestly, I don't know who's directing these
Yeah.
kids or giving them guidance or whatever it may be. Um, you know, I would imagine the Nico situation has scared a few guys off. I would hope so. Um, you kind of going into this stalemate with the team and with boosters and sitting out or making threats, it looks so bad on Nico, and I think in a way it's kind of brought everyone together. And I think people are proud of Josh Heupel in Tennessee, and they're giving them a lot of credit for what they did. I think now the guys got to really consider what they do when they jump into the portal, and they have to make sure that they've had really genuine conversations with the other team that they've been speaking with before they do it, because I mean, you can get out there in the portal after making threats, and then rumor goes around that you're that kind of guy, right? And I think that's going to follow
Yeah.
Nico to the NFL. You're not a locker room guy. You're a self guy. You're all about self, and that rumor gets around, and nobody wants you to come break up their locker room. We got to win this year. We can't win next year or the year after. We got to win this year, and you bring toxicity to the locker room, it's going to really hurt you, and the coach are going to be out of a job, right? So I think you've got to be really careful trying to be this, big macho guy with an ego. I think coaches are pushing back against that.
The one thing, and we've talked with NFL guys before, and you've talked about it before, the one thing about the NFL, it is results oriented. You are what you produce, and they don't have much patience for you otherwise. So there's not a whole lot of fooling yourself. You pretty much know where you stand in the NFL, and it's all about what you're producing. I think that's really a splash of cold water in some of these players' face in college in the portal. I read somewhere that the latest, and of course, like John said, the portal's not done. The latest numbers show that something like 63% of the players in football who go into the portal end up either transferring down a level, to the group of four or to FCS, or don't get an offer at all. There's a lot of people who have been wined and dined and recruited and everything, and they think they're all that. They test themselves on the open market, and the open market in college football isn't what they thought it would be. It is a risk, but again, to my point, in college football, sometimes you don't really have an idea of exactly how valuable you are or how valuable you're not, and that's a good way to find out.
Yeah, the grass isn't always greener. And I'm always pretty skeptical, and maybe it's just me, of a lateral change. I'm always skeptical of that. And to your point, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. Once you put on the tape, there's only so much a coach can do. That you have to help the team win at the end of the day. And so when there's a lateral move, I'm always skeptical. This guy's probably leaving for a reason. He's gotten in a feud with the coaches, or he maybe is not getting the playing time that he wants. And trust me, if you're not getting the playing time over there, I don't know why you think you're going to get it here. I think that makes my program look lesser. I'm always skeptical of that. But usually you can, if it's a guy that's probably played at a lower level and he's going up, he's probably on a decent trajectory. He's probably thinking, okay, I just had a big year at, let's say Troy. And so now I'm going to go play, or at UAB, and I'm just going to go play at Alabama or Mississippi State or Auburn, whatever it may be. Those guys, more than likely, they probably got the work ethic. They got the chip on their shoulder. They've been overlooked before. Those kind of guys usually are probably a little bit more successful. But those lateral change guys, I'm just like, yeah, he's probably not the best guy for the locker room, and he's probably not as good as he thinks he is.
That's a lot of it. Being as good as you think you are. That's
And I heard a coach say, listen, if you got baggage at my program, that baggage is going with you to the next one. You know, you're not leaving your bags with me. You're taking them with you. You know, CJ, you mentioned programs like Troy, South Alabama. There's hundreds of them around the country. To me, those are the programs that are getting affected the most because the good players, the ones that really, you know, that chip on their shoulder, they feel like they can do more or whatever it may be. You see them during this period going to bigger schools. How are they going to be able to sustain it? I mean, the schools in those leagues just have to realize, you know, we got to take what we can get, and if these guys leave, we got to go find another gym somewhere to fill their spot, and hopefully they can stick around a year or two.
Yeah, you know, and I've heard crazy stories, you know, even recently with these kind of lower level schools. I won't say the school's name, but you know, there was a left tackle that played pretty decent, you know, probably more than decent this past year, and the school said, "Hey, we'll jump you from 100,000 to 200,000," but you know, you've got a SEC school in the background that says, "Here's 8," and the school's just like, "Look, we get it, we understand, but we personally don't have that money. Like we can't, we just don't have it, you know." And so the kid has to go. He goes and takes the money, and there goes another great player playing at that level. And it's unfortunate because these are good schools. These are schools that I almost went to. I was very close to going to, you know, a Southern Miss or a Troy or whatever it may be, until Vandy came around, and Auburn and Kentucky kind of later on. So I respect these schools. I've spent a lot of time at these schools. Really good players, NFL players have come from these schools as well. So they deserve the right to have good players and to win ball games. But, you know, as long as it's about money, I feel like this is going to be an issue.
So you know, and a lot of times when they're moving up, they get the extra money, but they don't play as much. You know, you know, if you were at the top of the rotation at D end or outside linebacker, you may be the third or fourth guy now. And how much does that development or lack thereof help you in the next level? There's a lot that goes into it. See,
well, your agent needs to be looking at the other team's roster as well, and if he doesn't, he's not doing his job. You should get a new agent, but that's also a part of it. It's just like NFL free agency. You know, you've got to see who's already there, what the production has been, what the coaches feel about that guy, and you know, even if you play your butt off, I've seen it at Vanderbilt. You can play your butt off, have the best spring or fall of your life, but if the coach trusts that guy more, he's gonna play more. That's just what it comes down to.
Oh, interesting stuff.
Man, what good stuff. Good insight and analysis, man. We always look forward to it here on Wednesdays with our man CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News. CJ, man, I know we got a lot going on with the draft this weekend and a lot of other stuff going on, and we look forward to talking with you again next week all about it.
Absolutely. Very excited for tonight. I think there's going to be a little bit more drama than people are expecting. I don't think it's chalk tonight. So,
outstanding.
So.
Good stuff. Appreciate you, CJ.
All right, buddy. Good to see you guys. See you next week.
Sounds great. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us here. Love watching the chat, Barry, of people that knew CJ here in Montgomery growing up, watching him play ball, whether it was baseball or football. Great athlete, no doubt about it, as he went on to Vanderbilt and proved it as well.
Yes. John Dent says, I saw CJ play baseball many times in the Gump at the AUM and the basketball a few times as well. He was a player. We'll take a break. 18 minutes into our second hour. Coming up, the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. The Phantom's Dog of the Day coming up as well in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. and pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars.
This isn't going to work. No matter what we say, some people still drive drunk. But we're Budweiser. Giving a damn is what we do. So, if you think it's okay to drive drunk, if you think it's something that's debatable, or you just simply don't care, this Bud is not for you. Give a damn. Don't drive drunk. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, welcome back. Glad you're with us here on this Wednesday. Had to change specs here. My other one's a little dirty, so I went with a new pair. Those a little bigger. Wow. Here on a Wednesday. So, Barry, Ty, yeah, I need to get some of that. I don't have one. Ty wants to know, I think you've told this story before, but I can't remember. Yeah. How did DeMarcus Ware end up at Troy?
Yeah, DeMarcus was I remember when he got there. DeMarcus he was not a prospect. And I've talked to him a lot of times about this. He he's from Auburn High School, lived in Auburn his whole life, used to, when he was a kid, sell Cokes at Jordan Hare Stadium and make money doing that, spending money. When he got to Auburn High, he was about 6'4" and weighed about $185. He was a wide receiver. And he was a good player, obviously. Played on the same Auburn High team with Osi Umenyiora. They rode the bus together. They both told me that story. He just wasn't much of a prospect. He got, and Osi's the same way. Osi was from Nigeria through London, England, didn't know how to put on football pads and all that kind of stuff. Auburn wasn't interested, basically, is what it was. I think he got one scholarship offer from a Division 1A school, and it was from Troy, and he took it. Troy did not see him as a wide receiver. When he got to Troy, he was about 6'5", weighed about 210 pounds. And he got out there. They put him at defensive end, and nobody could block him. He had to gain some weight. He gained about 45, 55 pounds and didn't lose any speed. He just made himself into a really good. He's always been a terrific athlete. I'll never forget on camera one time, Osi, who was a terrific NFL player, all-pro many, many times with the Giants. Osi said, "I'll say it now. Never said it before. All those years we were riding the bus together, I never would admit it, but you were the better athlete between the two of us." So the Troy got DeMarcus because Troy did what Troy does. They worked hard, they beat the bushes, and they gave somebody a chance, and he turned out to be the best defensive player in Sun Belt Conference history and an NFL Hall of Famer. So that's the story there. As basically he was not a prospect when he signed, not a great prospect when he signed, but he made himself into a Hall of Famer.
Man, boy, did he. No doubt about it. Great. Good question, Ty. That's
it is
a great
good.
story. I knew that story, but couldn't remember all of the particulars about it. Okay, well, without further ado, I don't want to clog up the rest of the show harping on all
we
of this.
We got to move on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff to talk about. But last night, Barry, well, I'll just say this. Every underdog last night did not cover the spread. Matter of fact,
every underdog?
Yeah, every underdog.
All right.
Every dog got beat. Every dog did not cover the spread. including the Milwaukee Bucks, who were catching 4.5 at Indianapolis last night. Now, is it any consolation that maybe this was the closest game in terms of the point spread? No, close doesn't count. Doesn't matter.
No.
But we were kind of there toward the end until some stupid nitpicky foul sent the Pacers to the line and they iced it. That kind of irked me a little bit. OKC covered the spread against Memphis. They were laying 14.5. They won by 19. The Lakers, as a home dog, won the game outright.
Against the Timberwolves.
Excuse me. They were a home favorite, slight favorite in that game, but they covered the spread as well.
Against the Timberwolves.
So interesting in these contests. Indianapolis and Oklahoma City are up 2-0. The Lakers with the Timberwolves is tied 1-0. I think that series is going to be real interesting. So enough of what happened last night.
Anyway, real quick, just for anybody who's kind of keeping score, the Phantom went with Milwaukee plus the 4.5, and the Pacers win it by 8.
Yeah, that free throw line killed me late.
Okay. So
So
had to get that out there for the ladies.
We did.
Exhibit A.
That's right. 1-1 on the week. Okay, so tonight another NBA triple header, folks. You don't know what you're missing. Starting on TNT, 6:00 tonight. Orlando at Boston, followed by Miami at Cleveland at 6:30 on the NBA TV, and then the nightcap 8:30. Golden State at Houston. That's where we're going, Barry, because. Leads the series 1-0. We think it's going 2-0 tonight. Golden State going to win it outright as a 3-point underdog. 3.5-point underdog. We're catching 3.5 at Houston. Look, we'll take the points, but we think Golden State can win outright.
Yeah, I do too.
8:30 tonight. Take Golden State plus the 3.5. Interesting thing about this game, Barry, there's been a lot of line movement. I check out line movement in the NBA. Something as a little phantom somebody told me years ago. This line has moved a lot. Unfortunately, it hasn't really moved in the direction that I would want it to for the Warriors. I checked the scouting report. Don't see any injuries or anything of that nature, but we're sticking with them. We're taking Golden State plus the 3.5 at Houston tonight.
I think that is strong. And we've had a couple of comments on this. It'll be once again the coverage by and large in between those games, 2 of them on TNT, 1 of them on the NBA network, will be on Inside the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what they're talking about. This is what Shaquille O'Neal. He is, of course, a contributor, a studio host on Inside the NBA with Kenny the Jet Smith and Barkley and Ernie Johnson. Well, this was not last night, but it was Monday night. Kenny Smith was discussing the Nuggets-Clippers game, and Shaq on the set tried to, shimmy his way out while they were live.
Uh-huh.
Now, Shaq goes 7'1", about 310 pounds. And he ain't the one doing the talking. His mind is elsewhere. Shaq, tries to sneak off the set. But Charles Barkley says, "You all right, big fella?" And Shaq says, "Go ahead, keep on talking." Hey, you're wondering what's going on. Barkley says, "We're on TV." And of course, he leaves. We all know what Shaq was doing, right? The Jed and Chuck said that he drank too much olive oil. Kenny says he was back in the back talking about he was going to drink olive oil to clean his gut. It's cleaning his gut, all right.
Woo, man, yeah.
Anyway, this is what's interesting. Barkley says that Shaq and some other guys off the camera on the show were drinking olive oil amid a 2-week cleanse. Olive oil? Are you drinking it? Are you drinking it straight? What's going on there? Ernie Johnson says, hey, if he's going on a 2-week cleanse, he's going to miss a lot of airtime. He apologized, said he walked off to take a number 1 due to drinking a lot of water. and everything. I don't think it was a number one myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, last night on the show, this is what everybody's talking about. They evidently, and I didn't see it last night. I was doing a baseball game. They brought him a porta potty out there. Shaq don't fit real great into a porta potty.
How far is the men's room from the set? I mean, Barry, back in our day in Radio Land, sometimes I go, "Hey Barry, you got to bring us back from this break. I got to go in here to the men's room."
Yeah,
I mean, it was right around the corner. I mean, I could go in, zip out, no big deal.
That in old time radio, back in my days as an on-air personality, not in talk radio, there were a couple of tricks of the trade. You put on In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. Stairway to Heaven was a good one. Led Zeppelin.
Sure. Freebird.
Freebird, excellent. Freebird, when you had to take a break, take a bathroom break. Bill Cameron, great friend of mine, back when the radio station we worked at was next door to Tucker's, which was a dive. It was a bar and grill. They also had pinball in there. Bill would put on In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, which ran 13 minutes. He'd go over there and play a game of pinball over next door. This is when he was a student. Every once in a while, he'd come back and that record was skipping, In-A-Gadda-Da, all over the place. So there have been times when it, John, it happens.
It does.
It happens.
It does
I'm
happen.
live a lot. Yeah. There are times whenever I would say to John would say to me, "Hey, take it out this time. I'll be back in just a moment." There are times when those FM DJs, and this is the real issue, those FM DJs, you're thinking, okay, this is a 2.5, 3 minute commercial break. I can make it. Bathroom's right outside there. And you're speed walking out. And one of those FM DJs is walking out of the bathroom as you're about to go in. About face, come back. I can hold it for 15 more minutes until the next break because I ain't doing that.
My experience, Barry, it was the traffic guys. They were the ones that could really smell up the bathroom. I don't know what it was. I'd go, "Hey, light a match."
That's because they're only doing like 3 breaks an hour. What are they doing otherwise? They're drinking Diet Cokes and eating pork rinds or something like that.
Come on. I mean, mixing a can of Glade or something.
Problem, like 2 cans of Glade.
Woo.
Problem sometimes on the play, but like last night, I'm doing Alabama State versus Troy baseball. I'm soloing on the radio, and I'm out. We're not in the press box at Alabama State. They've got a banquet table out there in the concourse for me. I'm raining a little bit, not a problem, but you got to make arrangements for that. You can't, like, an hour before the broadcast, do not drink anything. If your throat gets dry, you got, lozenges, you can use those and everything. But that's the worst when you hit about the 6th inning and you've got to go to the bathroom.
Wow. Yeah.
There have been times when I've said, okay, bottom of the 3rd, Troy 3, Alabama State 1. We'll be back after this 2.5 minute commercial break, 2.5 minute stations.
Yeah.
On the Troy show,
Be ready.
And then you're sprinting down there. And of course, when you're sprinting over there, you have to go through the crowd, especially. Yeah. You've got people who want to, "Hey, Barry, how you doing?" Fine. Doing great. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Then you didn't finish all the way and you got dribbled down your pants leg and it's not good.
John.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah.
Never let it be said, John.
You gotta make sure you finish. All right. So speaking of Shaq, this guy does a lot of product endorsement. Did some Home Depot stuff during the NCAA tournament.
Papa John's,
doing
the General, Icy Hot.
Oh yeah.
There's one where he's dunking a basketball by a polar bear on an ice cap or something. I think that may be Icy Hot. But I'm thinking, Shaq ain't dunking like that anymore. He's 50-something years old. Give me a break.
Speaking of Duncan, let me write that down. Not the donuts, but something else. So, how is it, Barry, that I can understand what Shaq is saying word for word when he is promoting a product, but that NBA halftime show, I can't understand what he's saying.
It's because he mumbles. I don't know.
I mean, he talks slow. He mumbles. Words kind of run together. I'm thinking, what did Shaq just say? because when he's doing that Icy Hot commercial, I know exactly what he's saying.
We heard some of his rap albums.
Yeah.
Did you see him on Kazam?
Yeah, I don't
know which was worse in his movie Kazam, that I couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying, or that I could.
Yeah. Speaking of dunking, Barry,
Yeah.
not Dunkin' Donuts, but dunking a basketball. I'm trying to look into this. I know with, camera phones and videos on camera, maybe there's some editing, maybe there's some funny business that you can do to kind of make an image or a video look like you want it to. Photoshop, I think is what they call it. I don't know if you can do it in a video. Maybe you can. Who knows? So my 17-year-old son, who's pretty tall, he's taller than I am. I'm trying to figure out where he got this height. Skinny, tall, he's putting on a little beef, but that'll probably come more in college. Certainly that's what happened to me. He showed me a video recently of himself dunking a basketball. So when I looked at it, I didn't say anything. And I looked at it again, and I thought, well, is the goal 10 feet? This was inside a gym. It wasn't in somebody's driveway. This was a regulation gym. And I looked at that goal again, and I looked at the floor, and I went, well, it kind of looks like it's 10 feet. And I'm thinking, nobody in my family can jump. I mean, I was never a jumper. I was a scrapper. Going after that loose ball, I'm thinking, how in the world is this kid getting up that high? I don't get it. And I felt bad about questioning. I thought, is this really you? I mean, I think he thought I doubted him. But I'm amazed that somebody how did Sheriff Justice say it in Smokey and the Bandit when he was
Buford
talking about Buford T when he was talking about his? Ain't no way. I just thought, wow, really? Can you?
First thing I'm going to do when I get home is slap your mama or something like that. Yeah. Well, I have a little bit of personal history in that.
Okay.
I'm 6'4". My brother Mike, who I've told you about before, I'm going to put a link down here at the comments section. Check it out. My brother Mike, who's been a guest on the program, he's about 6'1". And I played basketball. He didn't play a lot of basketball. I used to school him all the time at the house. He was a senior writer at Sports Illustrated for a long time before the magazine, didn't make it. And one of his great articles, one of his great feature articles, I'm putting the link down now, was about at 42 years old, learning, being able to dunk.
Okay.
And, 42 years old, he's got 3 girls, job and all that, never dunked in his life. And he went through a rigorous series of training, explosive training, weight training. He's always been in incredibly good shape. And the first time I saw anything about it, he sent me a video of this playground in LA where he lives. And he appears out of nowhere in the video and he's slammed on. What in the world is that? My brother never dunked in his life, and he's 42 years old at the time. And he was talking about how you kind of make the explosive exercises. He talked with Vince Carter about how he dunked. He talked with Kobe. Kobe says, if you can, dunk off 2 feet. Sometimes it's better if you dunk off your off foot. Think about it. If you're a right-hander like me and you lay it up, you go off your left foot. Well, switch it up and go off your right foot and try to dunk it. Sometimes that helps. All that kind of stuff he goes over in that article. So people can train for it. People do train for it. And
how long did he have to train before he could dunk?
Like 9 months, 10 months.
Whoa.
And I mean, my brother doesn't do anything halfway. He was already in phenomenal shape. He's been a personal trainer to Major League Baseball players and stuff like that. So he's always been, it's not like he had to get in shape, but all the skinned hands and everything, trying to dunk on the backboard and stuff like that. I mean, it was an 8-hour-a-day thing for 9 months. And finally he was able to dunk. And of course, the year after and he did another article later on about hitting a home run in a major league ballpark. And he did that too. But it ain't easy. I mean, if you're 6'7", 6'8", I guess it is a lot easier. But for your son, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I don't believe it. He didn't train for it. I just think he grew and
well, where did he get that
older.
athleticism?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking, man, that was not my game. It was, shoot a long jumper.
Yeah.
And if it missed, hope it came back to you off the back iron. But
if you're playing and their guy has already got like 20 points at halftime and he's talking trash and he's in a rhythm and everything, man, what are we going to do about that kid? He's killing us.
Yeah.
Let's start Longshore in the second
hatchet
half.
Man.
Yeah.
We'll slow this guy down.
A sneaky elbow to the breadbasket, maybe a little rabbit punch under the basket, blocking out. Longshore will take care of it.
I haven't checked, Barry, but I feel confident I still hold the Montgomery junior high record for fouling out the quickest in a game. I got to think I still hold that.
You've got to respect the commitment. You got to respect the commitment because fouling out quick, I mean, it's not as easy as people might think, John. I mean, you have to work at it. You have to be committed to it. And John was like, by gosh, there are record books somewhere in Montgomery high school basketball. I'm fixing to be in one.
That's right. And, I think I mixed in a couple of offensive fouls in there, which I wasn't trying to. I was really trying to pester the other guy by fouling him. Maybe he was guarding me, and I just said, I'm going to run over this guy. Maybe they'll call a foul on me there, too. Who knows? But I still think I'll hold that record. I'm not sure if I actually did it at Cloverdale or maybe I was over at McIntyre or Capitol Heights the afternoon I did it. But I can remember getting a lot of fouls quick. And that's what I patterned, Barry. We had jerseys that only had our numbers on the back. I would walk down the floor backwards so the ref couldn't see my number.
Yeah. And he'd be going, and you're like.
So that way it irritates the ref, so he's looking out for you. He's looking to call a foul on
right. Yeah, that son of a gun. He knew what I was asking.
Yeah.
him.
So there's a method to the madness, kind of like Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel, which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
After the next break.
You may have to take it out of this commercial break, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21.
Must be 21 to enter. That's exactly right. Victoryland, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. Before we get to the topic, Will Berry, we got so many people making suggestions, asking questions, things of that nature. There's only so much time each and every day, but yep. How did the Braves do? I'm surprised we didn't touch on this earlier today.
Well,
we've been so busy, but can we get a little preview or look out for the Braves?
Well, we've been busy, we've been commenting on
Uh-huh.
other stuff. There have been things that have been happening. Well, the Braves did they did indeed play last night.
Yeah, they did.
See, what had happened was it got away from Atlanta against St. Louis late. Pretty close game at home against the Annapolis Cardinals. As a matter of fact, 4-4 heading into the 8th inning. And then St. Louis scored 3 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. They ended up winning it 10-4.
Ooh.
They ended up losing by 6. But it was late. I mean, it was, 6 runs late, 6 straight runs after the 8th inning. And there's your game. St. Louis.
Sounds like a kind of game that would have kept
10-4.
me there with some late runs.
Yeah, if somebody would have said, hey, John, St. Louis just scored 3 in the 8th inning, and they're about to, John, oh, hang on, what channel?
Yeah.
How do I find it?
Let me see that.
By the way, the Braves play early today.
Yeah, they do. Man.
11:15 this morning.
2.5
against
hours
St.
from now.
Louis. Yeah,
Yeesh.
I don't get it.
So, is this one of these series, John, from Wetumpka, where we're going to hear about, the Braves' attendance are phenomenal. Man, they're packing it in over there, because my understanding is a lot of Cardinal fans show up in Atlanta when they play the Braves, similar to Cubs fans show up in Atlanta when they play the Braves. I think just about everybody the Braves play, the opposing team's fan base shows up. And we hear about, there's so many great Braves fans. They love it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. I'll be interested to see how many show up at 11:15 today.
I do wonder about that.
Atlanta's minus 155 if you're into wagering on that game, which hopefully one day you'll be able to do here in the state of Alabama, regulated sports wagering. That's what we're pushing for. Get on it. Too many people crossing the state line, filling up the coffeers of Mississippi and Tennessee and other states. 39 of them, I believe, Barry, have sports wagering, except good old sweet home
So
Alabama.
what you're saying is if everybody just stayed within their own borders, everything would be good. If they'd stop crossing borders and stuff.
Yeah, well, I do like, and there again, I'm regulated. It's all about regulated sports wagering. I know a lot of people bet on unregulated sites, and I'm big time against that. But hopefully one day.
Well,
one
Shaq
day, I'm
needed to be
holding out.
regulated the other day.
Well, he did need to be regulated.
All
Okay.
right.
Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel I see is loaded up, ready to go. It's kind of getting that. It's kind of like when you get on an airplane and they have the engines going and just to kind of keep things warmed up. But now we're really about to get those engines going and spin that wheel. So Gurn, pop up the Victoryland 777 topic wheel today, and let's see what we are about to discuss. Big spin. I like the spinning sound effect too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that does make it sound like there's
Yeah, the little knobs on it, like
the little nails that they used to.
Did a fight break
blood.
out? Bad blood. Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right.
Pacers and Bucks. Okay,
Played
what's
last
this all
night.
about? Did not watch it. Let's see. I can't. It's a little too small.
It's a little too small. It is. Like I wish we could. I got to get some. I got to get some better glasses here. I'm trying to. It sounds like a fight broke out. If I had to guess, we don't have to sit here and act like it's any secret. Pacers took a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they did take a 2-0 lead. We don't like them. They don't like us, and and that's just what it is. And I think
there was a scuffle in front of the Pacers bench that led to double technical fouls in the first half. Words between multiple players in the final minutes that drew more technical fouls, players repeatedly hitting the floor, couple of 10-second counts on Giannis's free throws, da-da-da.
Wait a minute.
Entertaining.
Players hitting the floor as in a flop? I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem
they're just
with
beating
flop.
on the floor or something like that. I don't know. That is
a
a Longshore kind of game.
Yes.
Fight right in front of the bench, double techs.
Love it.
Little jawing late in the game.
Beautiful.
All right.
But Barry, here's the deal. The thing about the flop, it's all about salesmanship. It's like the punter that barely gets brushed by, but he flops all over the place, holding his leg. He's wailing. He's slapping his hand on the turf.
Right.
Kind of like soccer player.
They
got to get the stretcher out there. You think they'd have to amputate his leg. But the thing about, if you want to flop in the NBA, you got to get the hands wailing, back.
There's got to be verbal. There's got to be something verbal in there as well.
Yeah.
I
love the flop.
Listen.
Know why yeah.
Y'all listen. We could have Warren Buffett talking about investing. We could have David Scott in here talking about seafood. You get Longshore talking about how to sell a foul. That's that same level of expertise right there. I'm just telling you.
Some of these videos
talking about pine straw. They've got expertise in their field. So does John on this subject.
They get out of balance, and you're thinking, is this guy ever going to stop? And he runs into a wall, or he falls into a swimming pool, or just falls on the ground and rolls a couple of times. Those don't look. If they're selling that, they're doing outstanding jobs. But you got to do it. You got to give the ref something to think about. And look, is that not the responsibility of the ref to go, is he acting or is that really happening there? I mean,
you got to put it on him. That's exactly right. I'll never forget the All-American from North Carolina. His name is Tyler Hansbrough. Played in the NBA for a while. Called him Psycho T. He said, I'll never flop. I'll never do that. And I'm thinking, why not? Wouldn't it help your team? I mean, if you get contacted, leave it up to the ref. Let him make the decision.
Yeah, sure.
Who's to say you weren't fouled?
Yeah.
You just got to dress it up a little bit. That's all.
No, that's right. Just dress it up. And the punters, I got to tell you, and some field goal kickers, they can get brushed by a guy rushing from the side, barely grazed them. And the guy's spinning around. He's on the ground, beating that like, oh my God, my leg. Yeah.
The death scene in Romeo and Juliet ain't got nothing on some of the punters in NCAA football.
Oh, yeah.
Clasping their chest. Spinning around like they're on the verge of breathing their last as they fall limply to the ground. And I'm telling you,
and they're hobbling off
I get
the field.
teared up just thinking about
got one foot, they're hobbling off the field, or getting the trainer to come out there and help them. I get it.
The punt rusher's going.
I'd be doing the same thing. There ain't no doubt.
Yeah.
And were there times in my limited career that, I might, I don't know, kind of fudged on an injury a little bit just to get a little sympathy from the fans? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's kind of like calling your own number. I'm thinking, if I take a big lick out here, I'm sitting on the ground for a minute. I mean, I want somebody to know, hey, man, did you really get hurt in the game tonight? Nah, I didn't get hurt. Nah, heck no. I just want to make sure everybody knew I was in the game because I
athletic trainers looking, over from Phoenix Physical Therapy. They're looking at, all right, you want to go out this time? Who is it? Longshore. I'll go. You go out there. Longshore's lying there, and he's saying, hey, how's the crowd taking it?
There was one time I knew I was going to get in. And I told one of my buddies, you wait. You might see a faked injury out there tonight.
Yeah.
Just wait. If we got a big enough lead, I might fake an injury.
Yeah. Longshore gets up. The crowd applauds. And they're like, come on, don't applaud. The athletic trainer's walking off with him. John's trying to put his arm around the athletic trainer's shoulder. He said, stop it. Cut it out. You're fine.
We got to make this look good. We got to make it look real.
Come on.
All right.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Oh.
Okay, let's spin it again, Gurn. See what we got here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Victoryland exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. And it lands on Troy.
Yeah.
Troy was in the capital city last night. You mentioned it.
Slug fest last night. Troy hangs on. They win it by a final score of 12-10. We mentioned yesterday, this is a big, busy week in Troy athletics. Troy opens up a 3-game baseball series starting Friday against Texas State at Riddle Pace Field. Friday, 6 o'clock start time. Saturday, it'll be a 1 o'clock start time because Saturday night is the latest installment of the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame. I'm once again fortunate enough to be able to MC that event. Tickets are available. It starts at 7 o'clock, by the way. You can purchase them on the line at troytrojans.com/HOF tickets. And then Sunday's baseball game, the series finale, will be at noon against Texas State at Riddle Pace Field. Listen up closely. Sundays are always Military Sundays with Troy Baseball. Free admission to the game for all active, retired, and reserve members of the military with your military ID.
Do the Sunday games, are the start times determined on how far away the visiting team has to travel to get home?
That's a good question. Sometimes they are. The standard start time on Sunday is 1 o'clock Central. That's standard. Sometimes, like if a team has to fly back, like Texas State does, and from Troy, they usually either fly out of Montgomery or they charter. And so, yeah, that's a reason why this game particularly moved up from 1 o'clock to noon, is so Texas State can make their flight and get back.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Good question.
Couple of more to go here on our Victoryland 777 topic wheel on a Wednesday, and we're going to spin it and see where it lands, blue or green. Where it stops, nobody knows, but it's looking like blue to me. And chokers, and a triple. What happened? This is a baseball clip here. Cubs and Dodgers. Bing. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, Ian Happ, the Cubs single in the 10th inning last night, and the Cubs end up winning it 11-10.
That guy's fast. Look at this guy. Woo!
So there you go. They
Not
walk
enough head
off
first
the Dodgers.
sliding in baseball. I like more head first slide. Look at this guy. This guy's quick as a rabbit.
Yeah.
Jeez. He beat that throw by a mile. What was he in such a hurry for? Man. Now, that's my kind of game, Barry. 21 runs scored?
Yep.
Yeah.
Including a run at the bottom of the 10th to end up winning it over the Dodgers. The final one is overrated.
Got to spin it, though.
Yep.
Got to spin it to make it official.
Okay.
Does not go into
see
the
if we
book.
can load that up.
It doesn't go as an official spin if you don't spin it.
Okay, so let's go. Most overrated.
Could this be a particular athletic department?
I know what
in the
this is all
SEC?
about, and I'm totally against it. It's a good get from Gurn Jr. Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers. An anonymous poll of NBA players, which is a bunch of crap, was voted the most overrated player in the league in an anonymous poll. So what did he do last night for the Pacers? 21 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds. Should
have known that before I took the other side in Milwaukee, man.
The NBA on TNT crew said this, and this is probably right. This is Charles Barkley. He says, it's called being successful. Everybody hates you when you're successful. Now, just the entire premise of that's just Yahoo Sports trying to get a story out. A anonymous poll of NBA players, even his coach, Rick Carlisle, was screaming about it. Well, I can play that game. In an anonymous poll nationwide, over several thousand people polled anonymously, didn't have to give their names to participate in the poll. They have named Longshore and McKnight as the best podcast in the country.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that.
We don't have the numbers in front of us. It was just an informal poll taken by unnamed people. Longshore and McKnight, the podcast most likely to set trends and the tone in American society.
Well, I kind of like reading stories from a legendary sports writer that goes something like, a former SEC coach whose name will not be mentioned told me that so-and-so player was really hard to coach and his teammates didn't like him. Well, tell me who it was. I want to know who that coach was. Remember,
time will tell.
Athlons would have a section in their preseason college magazine where they'd ask coaches at other schools about other programs anonymously.
Oh, this guy's the biggest stiff in the SEC. I don't know how in the world he keeps his job. He's consistently just not only been a bad coach, but also a jerk to his staffers and all that kind of stuff, and stiffed me one time on my winnings when I beat him in the double down Nassau or whatever on the golf course and stuff.
Sure. I love that. Well, if I'd have known that, I might have not taken the Milwaukee Bucks, knowing that the Pacers had what was said to be the most overrated player in the league, and he lights him up last night. Guess I need to research a little better. Anyway, tomorrow here on the show, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be out at the Montgomery Regional Airport giving you all the updated information on what makes MGM the best way to start your travel plans. Check it out at flymgm.com for great deals. Convenience is what it's all about at Montgomery Regional Airport. Also, we will check in with Jason Caldwell of Auburn Undercover. I was about to say Jason Campbell again. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, and Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market.
Love the interview we had, the drop in with our buddy CJ Duncan as well. Appreciate Gurn Jr. As always. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.